I couldn't decide on what to do, whether I was too tired and I just wanted to go to bed or too scared to even close my eyes. I couldn't go back to sleep even if I wanted to. I walked over to the couch and sat there, contemplating on... Well, actually, the funny thing was, I don't know, I couldn't remember why I was contemplating. Questions were rushing in and out of my head. I stepped outside. Maybe the fresh air would make me feel better. It was just a regular day. I guess you can say I was going through the regular routine. I'm always tired in the morning. I hate waking up. You know, taking a shower, getting dressed, blah, 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 blah. But the worst part, well, I hate going up and down the stairs. There's that one step that always creaks and it annoys me in the morning. Like it's so loud and eerie. Anyways, I go to work in the morning, go to school, maybe surprise myself and go out for lunch, go back to work, and then finally go home. Just a regular day. But all day today, I didn't really feel too well. I think it was because it's flu season and Hawaii weather is probably the weirdest thing you can experience here. I mean, one time, literally, I was looking down the street or whatever. I don't know, it could have been some sort of hill. But anyways, what I saw was the weirdest thing. It was like looking at something that was cut in half. I saw it sunny on one side and raining on the other. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't have an explanation for it. Just that, I don't know, Hawaii weather is weird. Well, my friend Brian invited me and our other friends to his house for a movie night. And in hopes that what I was feeling would go away, I accepted. It was a pretty chill night, but even so, I just felt so tired. I'm not sure what it was, just something seemed off today. I contemplated what it could be, if it was the weather all in my head or what. Something didn't seem right, and I felt like, I don't know, if I said it, you guys would probably think I'm crazy. Whatever. I just felt like someone was watching me. Someone or something was following me. I mean, things would disappear in the corner of my eye. I felt uneasy. I just wanted to go home, but I didn't want to be rude and just leave like that, so I stepped outside for a little. It was pretty cold outside. I had my jacket on, but it just wasn't doing the trick. I walked out to the street to see if maybe the fresh air would clear my mind, but it just wasn't. Sitting down on the cold pavement on the sidewalk, the mountains outside of my friend's house seemed to creep closer to me. It was eerily quiet, but I was too tired to even notice. The usual dog that barked at me every time I went out was silent. I looked over to it and there was nothing in sight. I guess at the time I should have noticed something strange, but something was hindering me of doing so. The moon seemed to shine brighter than usual as I watched the clouds move past it, but it was for a split second. I looked down, finally ready to go back inside, but I froze. I couldn't move. I felt helpless. It was pretty hazy. All I remember is these two bright red glowing eyes from across the street. I don't think it noticed me. The body of it looked like it was reflecting the moonlight. I thought I was going crazy because as soon as I blinked to get a better look, it was gone. Coincidentally, as soon as it disappeared, whether into the mountains or out of my head, everything went back to the way it was. The crickets were chirping, the dog was barking, everything seemed right. I'm not even sure if I used the right word or not. Just told myself it was all in my head. I checked the time, 10:41. I decided it was time to go home. Told all of my friends goodbye and, well, I drove home. I mean, I didn't want to go, but I knew if I didn't leave right then and there, I would probably fall asleep on the road. One thing's for sure though, as soon as I got home, I would crash on my bed. Carefully reversing my truck back into the small little carport we have, I stepped down and I felt something. I felt something that you wouldn't usually feel at this time. It was cold. Coming from Hawaii, around 60 degrees would be cold. It literally felt like I was standing in 0 degrees. I dusted it under the rug and went into my house. Nobody was home. Figures. I didn't hear my neighbor's dog bark though. She usually barks when she hears a noise that she's not familiar with, or when someone comes into the gate of a backyard. Even when I open the door to my house, she barks. I walked up to my door and it's weird. Everything was silent. The dog wasn't barking. There was no wind rustling between the plants. No cars. I don't remember how, but I neglected to take notice and went inside. Ugh, going up the stairs again. Gosh, I hate these steps. I really should fix it. I always put it off though. Well, I made it back to my room magically and crashed onto my bed. I woke up in the middle of the night. I checked the time, 2:17. I couldn't go back to sleep. The only thing I could hear was my fan and the creaking of my fan as it went back and forth. And I just decided to go downstairs. Maybe I just needed some water, so I got a glass, filled it up with water, then proceeded to head back into my room. But coming up the stairs, I felt the same cold I felt as I did outside. This time it frightened me. Why was it different this time? I walked into my room and I knew the answer. On my bed, I'm not even sure what it was. It didn't take notice of my presence. It was crouched in the corner of my bed, facing the wall, rocking back and forth. And the only feature I could see was the moonlight reflecting off its glass-like skin. It looked like it felt soft to the touch, though. I was completely frozen. What was I supposed to do? I felt like if I moved, it would notice. The floor of the upstairs in my house was carpeted. I just didn't want to take that chance. Then it happened. It started mumbling to itself like it was chanting or something. I couldn't make out what it was saying. I saw it twitch its head a couple of times. The glow of his red eyes overtook the room as its growls grew louder and louder, covering the creak sounds coming from my fan. I creeped away, hoping to God it wouldn't see or hear me. The next couple of steps would decide if that thing was going to attack or not. But then I heard it say my name. RJ. I froze completely. Stopped in my tracks, scared to move another inch. My breathing slowed or stopped. I don't know. I could see it though. I could see my breath in my own house. Then I heard it. My bed was creaking like it was coming off of my bed. I heard things rustle around in my room. I didn't want to turn around. I wanted to get out of there. Out of my house. Out of this house that could be my death place. I wasn't quite sure what that thing was doing. I heard scratching on my walls as it rummaged through my room more. The posters on the wall fell gently to the ground as it continued growling, saying my name. How did I ever get into this situation? What did this thing want from me? I found the courage to walk down my stairs and possibly get out. Each step was like taking a step into the unknown. My thoughts raced as I wondered if I was going to survive the night or not. And then, oh God, the stair. That stair, I knew I should have fixed it. It creaked. It felt like it creaked louder than it usually does. I saw it. Oh gosh, no, it sees me. No, but what is it doing? It's listening? I froze. I didn't want to move another inch. It let out the loudest, blood-curdling scream I've ever heard. It didn't even sound human. I imagined what would happen in the next few seconds as I continued slowly down the stairs. I got to the bottom and it creeped over to the back door, but what? It wasn't even there. The back door wasn't even there. The windows were gone. Everything. What was I supposed to do? What was going on? Oh gosh. It was coming down the stairs. I needed to hide. I looked everywhere for the perfect hiding spot until I found one. The pantry. I could fit myself in there and close it. I just needed to keep quiet for as long as this thing was here. It got quiet. I slowed my breathing down so much it felt like I was faking my death. I felt close to tears covering my mouth and waiting in anticipation for this monster lurking in my house. All I could hear were sounds. But it seemed like they echoed throughout my house. I couldn't exactly pinpoint the location and where it was coming from. Wall decorations were falling or scraping against the wall. Vases were falling and breaking. Tables were being flipped over. I knew it was only a matter of time before this thing found me. It grew quiet again. I clenched every inch of my body. I didn't want to move. And then I heard it. I could hear it snarling, growling, smelling for me. The sounds would grow louder, then quieter. It felt like I was in the pantry for hours. A couple of times I would hear the creak of the stairs. I looked through the crack of the pantry door. Oh God. It walked into sight. I got a clear view of what this thing actually was. It didn't look like anything from this world. No, I'm not even sure how to describe it. Something was drooling out of its mouth. Its eyes glowed so piercefully, it felt like it would stare into the depths of my whole being in just a matter of seconds. The glass-like skin revealed to be something you would see from a naked mole rat, but it shined against the moonlight like it was the rising sun. Its face looked tense. Its eyes were scrunched up together, and its mouth, when open, revealed terrifying teeth I've never ever seen before. The tail was swinging back and forth. It was just a horrifying thing to look at. Just then, it turned towards the pantry door. It creeped closer and closer. I closed my eyes, trying to convince myself that it would go away. It used its long nails to scratch against the door to the pantry. It felt like I was the door. I could almost feel the sharpness of its nails going across my body. It seemed like it was trying to find a way to get inside. It got angry. It started banging on the door to the pantry. Its screams getting louder and louder with each hit to the door. It's like it knew I was in here the whole time. I fought back the urge to scream in hopes that it would tire and just go away, but it kept going. It kept going faster and faster. It was beating on the door. The screams were piercing. opened my eyes, and it was gone. The scraping stopped. The snarling and growling were no more. Even still, I didn't want to leave. It was too much. The experience was too much, and I just couldn't handle it. I waited, I don't know, 10 minutes? Felt like an hour. Everything was quiet. I opened the doors, but I didn't step out. I let them swing open as I stood there in fear. I stepped out. My heart was pounding. Every part of my being was shaking. I was surprised I could even stand up at all. Gathering the remnants of my courage, I decided to walk around, see if everything was as bad as it sounded like when I was hiding in the pantry, but everything was normal? I don't even know if that was the right word for it. Normal? None of that was normal, but why was everything the same as it was when I got home? I don't understand. I couldn't decide on what to do, whether I was too tired and I just wanted to go to bed, or too scared to even close my eyes. I couldn't go back to sleep even if I wanted to. I walked over to the couch and sat there contemplating on... Well, actually, the funny thing was, I don't know, I couldn't remember why I was contemplating. The questions were rushing in and out of my head. I stepped outside. Maybe the fresh air would make me feel better.